No, I love that. And you have to invest in your team because, I believe that if you're going to win in the marketplace, that starts with first winning inside your workplace with your team and that culture. You're not going to make the impact you want to win in the marketplace, winning in your workplace inside your four walls with your team. I honestly would probably assume that always trumps any business that you may miss or lose.
I'm Grant Botma, best-selling author and founder of an Inc. 5000 fastest growing company in America. There was a time when I was drowning in day-to-day work because I was wearing all the hats. My business was a source of tension and frustration. But now, I have a high-performing team of self-directed people that are the greatest asset to my multi-million-dollar business. A business that changes lives and is a source of joy and freedom in my life. The Culture Core Show is designed to give you insights on the simple team-building framework that worked for me. If you're a business owner, manager, or leader looking for actionable tips and practical conversations, you're in the right place. Welcome to the Culture Core Show. I am excited about today's interview. This is a unique interview. It was actually recorded months ago, and when it was recorded, Brandon Smith, who is the guest of this week's show, he was engaged to my sister-in-law, Joy, and now here we are, having this episode being published, and he is now my new brother-in-law. They are married, so you'll get to hear a little bit of that in the conversation. But really why I brought Brandon on is because he has a team of people where he does a great job casting vision. And the way that he does that is he intentionally creates wow moments. You'll get to hear about his wow moments, how he creates memories for his team when leading them in this interview. You'll also get to hear two questions that Brandon asked. One of them is, hey, Grant, how do you create social engagement for your team? And have these moments, maybe even have big full-on team meetings when nobody's at the office. Aren't you going to lose business? Well, you'll hear me respond to that. It's basically summed up in a word, opportunity cost. And we all have to see that these moments that we create for our team, these team-wide events, it's an investment into your people, which then is an investment into your business. Now, Brandon, he also struggles with something that is super common. I struggled with this for a long time, and you probably have struggled with it if you're not already currently struggling with it. And that is you get to a place of success because you know how to get things done. You grab the bull by the horns and you make stuff happen. And as a result, it makes it tough for you to have patience when you're training and leading people. You know what I'm talking about. You'll see somebody struggling through something on the computer, and it just takes all of your energy not to grab the mouse from them and take over and get it done 10 times quicker, right? And I talk about that with him, how you can create that patience and what you can do and why it's important to make sure that you give freedom to your team in that way. Because eventually they'll grow to probably be even better at this job than you are. Man, I can tell you from a person who's sitting there, it is a huge blessing. Here's this conversation with Brandon. Hope you guys enjoy it. Brandon, it's an honor to have you on as the very first ever guest on the Culture Core Show. Thank you for being here.
Dude, I'm so excited. This is awesome. I didn't know this was the first. For
yes.
real?
Yeah, you're the first. You're the first
Sweet
ever
deal.
guest. Yeah.
That's awesome.
So we want to add to the normal content on the Culture Core Show by asking people around the country who are managers, leaders, or businesses or business owners these three questions that have to do with their culture. And culture, just so we can define that, is basically the character traits or the things that lead to the action that your team is taking. So if we know what culture is with that definition, you're a manager or leader now doing some awesome things with your team. Let's start with the first question. What do you think you guys do really well within your company culture? What's something about your company culture that you're super proud of?
Yeah. And I love your definition of culture. When I think of something I'm proud of or our team is proud of or our partners are proud of, I come back to, I view culture really more as a common vision rather than more of an office defined by four walls and chairs and a desk. And so I think we are really good at casting vision, sharing vision, and doing that in a way of just wow moments. I love creating wow moments for people and almost like this whiplash, like, whoa, didn't see that coming, just all of a sudden, just surprise along the way. So taking just, those pieces that I enjoy and am gifted at, and using that to cast vision for our team and the future where we want to go, doing that in a way that wows our team along the way, creates buy-in, motivates them, encourages them, even challenges them at times. But I think we're really, really good at casting vision in our office among our team.
Man, I love that. And honestly, that's something that we at Stewardship had to change and do something differently. Literally this week, we had our very first kind of team meeting where we talked about what was in the previous year and then vision casting, letting them know what's coming for the future. And we had never really done this before because it used to be that the team was so small, I would just jump out in the hallway and we talk about vision or talk about things that we're going to be doing. And that was how I could cast vision. But now I had to do it in a full-on event. And like you're saying, I try to figure out a way to create wow moments and try to find a way to really help them absorb that vision. And man, that is a really great thing. I think all leaders, managers need to know and understand what you just said, that they've got to get their team to hear, feel, and absorb that vision that the leaders are trying to pursue. That's amazing. All right, so the next question is, what's something about your company culture or maybe your management or leadership that you're like, man, I wish I was better at this?
Being a leader, being a coach. I am a terrible coach. Onboarding, training new employees, helping existing employees grow and get better. Just my personality is just, it's easier for me to do it myself because I don't know how to coach you. I just do it. And so just learning how to communicate, how to have empathy, and also just respect for people. I've heard from others that it can come across as just I'm better than you. I know more than you. I'm smarter than you. You suck. And that's not my heart. I don't know how to coach and put myself in their shoes and really train and show people the how. My training is just do it, figure it out. And I know that doesn't work for everyone, and that can really hinder culture or create morale to drop in the office. So that is definitely an area that needs some improvement.
Man, you know what? It's a struggle that so many successful business owners or managers or leaders have, because you don't get to the place of that success unless you know how to just grab the bull by the horns and make stuff happen, right? And
Right.
and that's, you're good at that. You're good at finding a problem, attacking it, and going and getting it done. And that's an amazing skill that has brought the business to where it is. But it's hard sometimes to have the patience to just like let somebody else try, even though you know you could do it quicker, or maybe let them fail at it a little bit, even though you know that, like, man, I could just get this done right now,
Yeah.
And that's a tough thing. That's a hard thing to do. So I think many people listening will be able to resonate with that.
A common comment that I get is, Grant, your schedule must be crazy. I would hate to look at your calendar. You own a mortgage company, insurance agency, an investment advisor. You wrote a best-selling book. How are you doing all of that and still maintaining the relationships with your family? Well, now I'm going to give you a copy of my calendar, a copy of my schedule. You'll be able to see what my day looks like, my week, my month, my quarter, and my year. All the things that I'm intentionally putting together to ensure, one, that I can get all the things done that I need to get done, but also I can have the relationships that I have with my family. This is yours for free. All you have to do is go to culturecourse.com/calendar. That is culturecourse.com/calendar. And there you can input your email address and you will get emailed a copy of my calendar, of my schedule, with a video walkthrough of exactly why I do what I do and why it's important to maintaining efficiency in my schedule, but also maintaining the relationships that I have. Enjoy.
All right. So the last question is, if you have, what's one question that you have, or maybe what's one question that you've heard a lot from other managers or business owners out there as it pertains to management, leadership, or company culture? How can I help you?
Yeah. I think to really understand culture or somebody else's culture, you have to taste it. You have to see it and experience. So much of it can be so philosophical, so theory, and how do you apply it? And I honestly, just with our relationship and business and, soon to be family, have had a little bit of a chance and opportunity to see behind the curtain and the culture of your office and your team. And so I've tasted it. Where I guess a question I would have is, this week saw on social media, you just referenced it, you did a team building event. You essentially shut down your office for 3 or 4 hours, locked the doors, turned the lights off, took everybody out, had lunch, had a meeting, had all your partners share and time of collaboration, talk about successes from the past and the future. But what about the balance of stress and workload when they come back to the office of 3 hours, 4 hours of missed phone calls, emails? Obviously, there's got to be balance to that. So how do you manage the, yes, let's go have fun, let's build an awesome culture, morale's high, without hurting productivity, efficiencies at the office? Your assistants come back from being out for 4 hours, and now they have to stay at the office 2-3 hours later than normal just to get caught up. They're not getting ahead. How do you manage that, and how do you do it in a way that doesn't hinder culture or take away from the fun experience they just participated in?
Yeah, I think this particular thing is like many things as a business owner. Your decisions should always be weighed upon this thing called opportunity cost, right? So if I don't do this meeting, right? If I don't do this meeting where we're going to cast vision and we're going to talk about how we previously won and what we're going to be doing in the future, what opportunities, what's it going to cost me? Well, as you mentioned, one of the greatest things about your culture is the ability to go cast vision and have people absorb that. So what would that cost my team? What would that maybe cost me monetarily if my team is not on vision, if they're not absorbing that? So I have to weigh those things and recognize, oh man, yeah, that would cost us a lot if we were unable to socially engage and celebrate together based on the previous year. And if we were unable to talk about how we're going to do things in the future, especially if the team starts seeing new endeavors and new things happening within our business, and then they feel like it was a surprise and they never knew, like they should be insiders, right? They should feel like they're inside information. They should know some secret stuff that's going on that the public doesn't know about yet. And what would the cost be to me if they found out about it the same time that the public found out about it because we didn't have this meeting? Man, that could cost me dearly because they wouldn't work maybe as hard because they didn't feel like they were as big of a part of the family that we have. So it's opportunity cost weighing. Sure, shutting down the office for 3 hours, we might even lose a customer, Brandon. If somebody calls in and we're not here to answer it, we might lose a customer. Well, we're okay with that. I'm weighing that opportunity cost against the importance of this one particular meeting. And so many people ask me that exact same question all the time. Like, Grant, well, based on how you have your culture, the different things that you're doing, what happens when somebody calls in? My response, they leave a message, really. Yeah. And if a customer is unable to be at peace with them leaving a message and then us getting back to them a few hours later, maybe they're not the best customer for us. Right. I mean, we don't necessarily thrive on those types of customers that need stuff now, right away. Now I need it now. So it's just weighing the opportunity cost. Yeah. Anytime you do anything within your culture, yes, there's going to be a cost to it, and you have to weigh what are those things going to be, including when they get back after that 3 hours. Some people's workloads are going to be a little bit heavier.
Right.
Now most people before the event started, they knew it was coming. So they know that, oh, shoot, well, I'm going to be gone for 3 hours. I got to put in some extra time before. So one of the employees that I talked to in the car on the way over to the event, he's like, oh, yeah, I just worked extra yesterday, and now I'm totally good for this 3 hour time. You know what I'm saying? So people can work up to it, leading up to it, and then afterwards they know they could take it after.
Yeah.
So.
No, I love that. And you have to invest in your team because, I believe that if you're going to win in the marketplace, that starts with first winning inside your workplace with your team and that culture. You're not going to make the impact you want. So, I mean, I love your answer about opportunity cost. And I mean, that can be so hard to weigh in different businesses and different environments and industries and regions across the country. I mean, just culture in terms of society is different in the South than it is in the Northeast. And so, to win in the marketplace, winning in your workplace, inside your four walls with your team, I honestly would probably assume that always trumps any business that you may miss or lose. Investing in your people is probably the priority. Would you agree?
Yeah, totally. Let's put yourself in the customer's shoes. We had that meeting. You call in, you leave a message. We call you back a few hours later, maybe later than what you wanted. Maybe even it's the next day. And we call saying this, Mr. Smith, I'm sorry that we missed your call and it took us a little bit to get back to you. We actually had a team event yesterday where we got together and learned about, some ways that we did good at our mission of loving people through finances. And then we talked about ways that we're going to do it even better this year in 2020. So it was a team meeting. It was a lot of fun. And I grew as an employee and grew in ways that I can even actually serve you better. So I'm excited about that. Any customer who's going to respond negatively to something like that, again, probably not a customer that every business wants. So,
Yeah.
Brandon, thanks so much for joining us to be on the Culture Core Show and for sharing things that you do well, being transparent, sharing areas where you struggle. And I'm excited to even hear feedback of people who have listened to this episode and how they have learned from you as a result. So thanks again, man. Appreciate you.
Awesome, man. Talk to you soon.
All right, there it was, my conversation with Brandon. If you guys want to follow up with him, one great way of doing that is following him on Instagram. His Instagram handle is Brandon5MITH. So it's like he uses the 5 as an S. So his name is Brandon Smith, but Brandon5MITH on Instagram. Follow him there. Also, if you have an event and you're thinking about bringing on somebody to speak into your team, to motivate them, to inspire them, you're going to want to talk with Brandon. Send him a DM on Instagram, check him out, and think about having him at your next event. Brandon Smith, friend, now a brother-in-law. So glad he was on the show. Hope you guys enjoyed that episode. We will see you next week.